Thank you, Zoom lady. Hello, my name is Dan. My pronouns are he, him. I am running a game called Rising Tide, which is a Paragon playset of my own design. I am going to go over some safety tools. I'll have my players introduce themselves and their characters, and we'll do a recap of what happened last time. We're using 3 safety tools, at least. The first is open table. If you need to step up and walk away, please do. The second is X card. If anyone starts to broach a topic that makes you uncomfortable or you would rather not hear, please click the X card button in our dice roller or type an X in the chat. We will stop, rewind, and go in a different direction. And lastly, we are using lines and veils. Our character keeper has a safety and resources tab with lines, which describe topics that we will not broach, and veils, which are topics that we can introduce into the story, but we will not describe in great detail. I will not read those topics out loud. You can all see them. Feel free to add or embellish, and do remind me if we miss anything. Those are our 3 safety tools. Players and I have talked about them quite a bit, but let me ask, does anyone have any other questions about them, or does anyone want to add another safety tool? Everyone good?
I'm good.
Fantastic. So, friends, it's nice to see you all again. I'm excited to continue this. I thought last session was really exciting. I think what we'll do is we'll just go in character and keeper order. So, Joe, you can sort of, since you were not here last week, refresh your memory. Yeah, we'll do that. So, Darren, you're up. Tell us about yourself and tell us about Einar.
Oh, okay. So I am Darren, he, him. I am playing Einar, who used to be in the whaling industry, but now regrets that very much and is working for the good guys.
And what did your role on this ship?
Oh, my role, like logistics and support, some military experience.
I realized I took some notes last week. Let me see if I can find them. That's not it. Okay. And when we last left you, you were on the hydrofoil heading back to the ship, right? Does that sound right?
Yep.
All righty. Matthew, you're up.
Hi. Hi. I am playing. Hi, my name is Matthew. I am playing Inga McCulloch, a former energy engineer. Someone who used to work with big energy. And then she got disenchanted and realized it wasn't making much progress in changing the world, because that's how big energy works, right? And since then, she's become a fugitive from the law. Why are words hard? She has become a fugitive from the law who is known for her extreme or violent tendencies in inflicting eco-justice upon the various climate criminals that exist on this world.
Awesome. You are also on the hydrofoil heading back to the ship.
That is right.
Yeah. We decided to name the ship the Aegis, and we have a captain who I can't remember.
Reese, I believe it's Reese. Oh God, I forgot. Reese something.
Yeah. I can picture the actor that you posted, but I can't remember. And I'm having a hard time getting to my notes because that's.
I'm looking for my notes.
Cool. And Joe, it's been a couple weeks. Do you remember Adam?
I do. My name is Joe, he, him. I'm playing Adam Thatcher, he, him. Adam is he is from the Thatcher family. The Thatcher family has been basically colonizers and exploiters for generations. They're quite a wealthy family. and he got disillusioned with that. Sort of an interesting through thread with all of our characters. And he is the medical officer on board the ship.
Fantastic. Yeah, that sounds right, Matthew. Reese Bashir. So we, Joe, while you were out, we were fortunate in that 2 players were able to pick up just in the moment. I mean, it was literally minutes before the game started. And the 4 characters went on a mission to intercept a CEO of a fossil fuel company. The fossil fuel company is, I think, called Atlantico, unless we retconned that. His name is Jeff Webb, and the team intercepted Jeff Webb's private jet. Jeff Webb, his private jet at a private refueling station, which was a repurposed oil rig, and they attempted to infiltrate the oil rig, the repurposed oil rig, and more or less didn't do so great on some of the rolls. So there was a lot of chaos. Chaos ensued. They ended up jumping on a hydrofoil. I think it's your hydrofoil, right? The Aegis's hydrofoil, and started making their way back. And then the cliffhanger that we ended on is that you all were being pursued by Thai military or paramilitary kind of mercenary group hired by the Thai government, who have a bounty essentially on Jeff Webb's head. That is what I remember. Darren, would you like to fill in any details, anything that I forgot, anything important for us to, important details for us to remember?
Yeah, so we captured, oh gosh, I'm not remembering his name, the corporate
Jeff Webb, yeah.
officer. Okay.
Jeff Webb.
Yeah, it overall went poorly. And we kind of got away by the skin of our teeth. And I believe at least part of the recording was did not happen because the goons managed to seize the camera.
So just to fill that in, Mike's character is your team's social media director and publicist, and she tried to basically get Jeff Webb on camera to say incriminating things, but he's a billionaire CEO of a fossil fuel company. He might be well trained in being evasive and smooth on camera. So yeah, he did not incriminate himself at all. That was great. Thank you, Darren. Matthew, any other details you want to add in?
Literally, like the Thai military, Thai paramilitary, all that stuff checks out. What I do recall is we also established that the bounty hunter Nwabudike Armstrong is also present.
Yes.
Who was privately contacted by Webb, but I'm going to assume that it is now like switching his contacts or pivoting towards working with the military to, hunt our terrorist asses down.
I mean, it is Armstrong after you, Inga, specifically, or after just the crew of the Aegis in general?
As a fugitive on law of the law, I'd say the bounty is specifically is exponentially larger on me, but I'm sure he's not beyond cooperating with the military or working with someone else if taking down the group means also getting Inga.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you facing both of these things at the same time, or as I'm trying to concoct that contest in my head, but do you maybe one of them is the more immediate threat? Maybe you've got Armstrong like landed on the hydrofoil.
True. Yeah. Maybe what happens is that let's define those Armstrong as the immediate threat, because whatever happens with him could bring us closer in range of like the threat of the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, let's not die first before. Let's not die and get scalped first before worrying about getting arrested.
right. Yes. There is a dependency there. Yes. So Joe, now that you've heard all of this, we get to retcon Adam into the scene. We did have one person stay back on the Aegis, on the ship itself. But I'm wondering, so you have some options. You could have been on the oil rig all along. You could have been waiting on the hydrofoil to provide medical support, or you could still be back on the Aegis, providing remote support. Or maybe you have another idea. What do you think?
I think what's happened was originally the plan was I was going to stay on the Aegis and prep medical.
Yeah.
Because people were going to need it. Jeff Webb was probably going to need it. But then as soon as we hear about how things have kind of gone sideways, I'm now in a hydrofoil heading to intercept them with like a medical kit. Because yeah, we're gonna need to do this in the middle of the water, it sounds like.
I can't remember, was there anyone injured? I mean, there were some pretty rough fights, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Einar was at least slightly injured.
Yeah.
He proved himself to be both a Schlemiel and a Schlemazel during that whole thing.
Darren, your use of the Yiddish is greatly appreciated. Thank you. That's very nice.
Oh, no problem. It's in the family.
All right. Okay. So I love the fact that you're like coming out in another hydrofoil. I don't know where that you just got all of these hydrofoils, but you know, it's got the place is lousy with hydrofoils, and you're heading out. We also established that like the 5 of you are not the captain are not the entire crew. Right. Like maybe you've got some, we've been calling them red shirts with you, like just some regular Aegis crew who are maybe piloting the hydrofoil with you and your medical equipment out there. Yeah. We decided that the Aegis has a really cool, like one of the things that is distinctive about it is that it's got really fast lightning satellite communications, so that you've got almost instant connectivity anywhere you are. And that's because your captain is a former military satellite expert person. But I'm wondering, maybe you could give us a little bit on how is the Aegis's medical bay? Is it really, really well stocked? Is it bare bones? Is it just sort of what you've been able to collect over the years? What does it look like?
The medical bay, the sort of set equipment is like state of the art from about 20 years ago. And it's a hodgepodge when it comes to supplies. Like we've got a lot of some stuff, but not enough of other stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Matthew, what do you mean Sky Vault?
It was a Centurion's reference. You know, the space station that beams people up.
I do not know that. But now
no.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, you should.
Oh, I think Matthew did say though that we had like a satellite that our captain had like hijacked, kind of.
Yeah, he totally hijacked that satellite. All right, so I think what we're working on is the current contest. We'll do, my aim for this session is to do one regular contest and then the final contest. And if you don't remember, the final contest consists of sort of a series of 3 independent contests. So my aim is let's do one contest to kind of deal with the crap that you're dealing with now, and then we'll figure out what that final contest looks like. some kind of final confrontation between you all and Webb, presumably. But we'll see where the fiction goes. So we talked about dealing with this bounty hunter Armstrong. I'm going to do it. Nwabudike Armstrong. Bad for an American. So this person is on the, is Matthew, in your imagination, has Armstrong landed on the boat, or is he sort of like gonna parachute into your hydrofoil?
Oh my God! Like, why not? Yeah, sure. Okay, let's say he's already if it's okay with everyone, let's just say he's already on the back of the boat, or the back of the hydrofoil.
Right.
Is he like so badass that he has a jetpack?
Do you want him to have a jetpack, Darren?
If that's okay with you.
Let's do it then.
Also, I mean, I feel like every time we tell a story, Idris Elba is in it. And so I feel like this guy is played by Idris Elba. Was that who you had in your imagination, Matthew?
Well, I would have gone with Yahya Abdul Mateen, who has been uploaded to the chat.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. All right. So this guy is coming for you. So this is the contest. I also feel like there's we've got Adam who's trying to intercept and get over to you all because Einar is not doing so great. And someone's got to look after Webb, otherwise he might try and make an escape. So you've got a lot of things going on here. Joe, I don't know how much you remember about this system. It is very quirky, but now I've lost the character keeper. Oh, there it is.
Oh man, so many things going on. Adam trying to get to us, Armstrong on her ass. I like this ship. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's like a soap opera of ships. So I'm gonna so I get to declare what domain this contest will be, and I can't see it being anything other than combat and tactics, just because there's a lot of potential violence about to happen. So remember, you can always add another domain die to your roll. I'll go in character keeper order. Darren, what are you imagining Einar doing here?
I'm thinking the best thing he could do right now, because he's not, 100% ambulatory, is keep a very tight watch on Webb.
All right. So you're taking over for you are making sure that Webb is staying put. Can you give me a sense of like inside the hydrofoil or outside, I don't know, on the hydrofoil, what does it look, how have you secured him and what are you doing to maintain watch on him?
I have manacled him to the deck essentially, and I am telling him to stay low, and I'm down low with a shotgun with some baton rounds in it.
That sounds appropriate. Inca, you're up. What aspect of this are you dealing with?
Well, I would assume that my the hydrofoil is being piloted, capably, and so to get Armstrong off her ass, I guess Inga will lift one knee up and reach for any weapon she can find on the foil, unless we rule that it's on her person, and try to like either knock I almost knock Armstrong off our ass.
Okay.
Yeah.
What weapon do you imagine that she has?
You know what? Since Darren established that he's an ex-whaler, let's just say that there's a harpoon gun on this side.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
awful. I can't believe I just said it.
Yeah, this show's not on in prime time. It's kind of late. It's later in the day. And it's an HBO Max show. And All right.
I like how you said. I like how you said there's a time slot, but also it's in a streaming service.
Yeah, yeah. They don't want the kids to see this one. They're harpoon guns. Are you like? I may have missed what you said, but are you like going straight after Armstrong, or are you going to try and sneak up on him?
Straight up, no time and room for stealth. I don't want to imperil anyone else by doing that.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that sounds appropriate. And Adam, what's your aim here? How are you contributing to this contest?
So I'm gonna try and direct the person who's driving my hydrofoil, and it's like, go right there, right between them, right that way. And I'm gonna try and come between Inga and Einar and Webb and Armstrong to sort of to be a distraction, to be a distraction, throw him off his aim.
I pictured Armstrong is on their hydrofoil.
Is on their hydrofoil? Okay.
Yes, but I'm okay with you like trying to provide a distraction, or I don't know if you're experienced with any kind of weapon or shooting them from afar, or like loudspeakering over to them, or I don't know.
In that case, have him pilot it in such a way that we create. I'm not exactly sure how hydrofoil works, but we create a wave.
A wake. Yeah.
A wake that splashes over Armstrong.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. That sounds great.
All
right. So let's walk through this dice pool making. Darren, do you want to so Joe, I don't know if we did this at all when we played before, but we kind of click all the dice to get them ready, and then we roll kind of more or less all at once. So Darren, you want to walk us through your dice pool?
Yeah, give me 1 second. For some reason, the browser window where I had it open crapped out on me.
No worries. I posted the URL again to the chat.
Okay, here we go. So what I'm thinking is, a D6 for my roll. Is that what you call it, name die in this one?
Yes.
Okay. And then a D, you said this was like the, combat and tactics. So that's a D6. And I would like to take a stress to add my support and logistics die, which is a D8. And let's see here. What do I have left?
I would be totally okay with you adding your whaler background.
Okay.
As someone who is, let's say, used to handling and keeping mammals from flopping around too much, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
I'll buy that for $1. So that is 2D8 and 2D6.
Oh, where'd you get 2D8?
Oh, I am using a stress to bring in my logistics and support die.
Where was the first D8?
I
have 3D6 and a D8.
Whaler is a D6. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm not trying to cheat. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I got it together now.
All right, cool. You good?
That was my previous character at a D8 in his
Right. Yeah, and
federal
actually,
agent.
before we did we talk about taking an advance?
I said that during wishes, and you're like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, so maybe we should do that before we do all these rolls.
Okay. So are you guys?
You're good. So, and again, Joe, forgive me, I don't remember what we've talked about or not, but on a previous game, we decided to take an advance because it's essentially a one shot.
Right.
And so there are several possible advances. I'm going to do my best. That's not going to go well. That's not going to go well. Let's cut and paste them into the chat. There's one set of advances. There's another set. So we will pick an advance and then we'll resolve this contest. So I'll give you a moment to look at those. Feel free to ask me any questions about what any of those means. You're muted, Adam. Or, sorry, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I was just muttering to myself.
Oh, okay.
Just add on domain. D6 advance back onto D8. So are we able to advance rolls to D8? It's not on the list. I just wanted to double check.
No. So the way rolls or the name die gets advanced in this is you earn what I'm calling duty here or glory, Aegon. So when you get to 80 glory, you can advance your name die to a D8.
Awesome.
One of my critiques is there's like 2 different ways to advance things. Darren, do you know what you're going to do?
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna paste it into the. I was gonna take the when you use duty to invoke a trait, you get 1 die. Is it lower or would that be higher?
Which one?
Let me see here. I'll paste it in here. Let's see. I'll put it in like cell 62 here. Oh, I didn't do that right. I'm sorry. When you mark duty to add a die, use a lower tier die. Would that be higher?
No, it is lower. So remember, this was the mechanic that I added where you
Oh.
can take extra points to let me add a die.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's still fine. I get it. I'm sorry.
That's great.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Right. And actually, I should probably roll for difficulty. Matthew, do you know what advance you're going to take?
Let's see. I think I'll just advance a domain
Perfect.
to D8. I think I might a D6 to D8 or a D8 to a D10 or a background to D8.
Yep.
I think I'll advance the background to a D8.
I like it.
Yeah.
And Joe, it looks like you've bumped up one of them, politics
Yeah.
and communication.
Yeah,
nice.
exactly.
All right. So here we go.
Is it okay if I switch to making logistics and support a D10?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
that's okay. It'll be interesting to do some rolls with the D10. So let's do this by the book now. I'm going to roll for difficulty. Oh my gosh.
What happened? What happened?
I rolled 2d8 and I rolled a 7 and an 8. So the difficulty
Ouch.
level is the highest die that I roll plus 5. So you're trying to
Damn.
be a 13. I
This
never
is starting to feel really familiar.
I never roll this well when it counts. So Darren, you put your dice pool together, and that was another choice that you can make. You can take duty. You can take let's see, what was it? You can take 2, 4, or 6 duty to let me add another die to the roll.
Wow. I think that might be ill-advised. So I kind of want to do it, but it made things so hard last time.
It really did. Yes. Okay, so you've got your pool ready. We'll move on to Matthew. What do you got?
All right. So what I wanted to say is that the whole jetpack technology thing is, well, I wouldn't call it experimental, but I definitely say that consumer use, high stakes, tactical situation, that whole kind of thing. Not exactly like the ideal yet. It's not exactly there. So what Inga does is Inga takes the harpoon uh, gun and like tries to time it properly on Nobusuke, so that during his descent, or at least movements towards as he closes the distance, she's looking for just the right set of opportunities where the pack has to be like lower powered or shut down to sustain, you know, decent flight. You know what I mean? And so with that, I'm going to employ operative die, engineer die, and then use the domain of combat and tactics to do this. So that's already a 2d8 and a 1d6 as base. Does that check out for you?
Yes, you are on the right track. Yes.
All right.
You can also spend an expertise to add a D4 to your pool.
Yeah, let's spend one of those engineering dice. Yep. So let's see.
And
2d8
then
plus 1d6 plus 1d4.
you can also mark a stress to add another D6 if you like.
Yeah, let's do that. And marking the stress to say like, well, probably use torn between, let's use support and logistics. I'd say that she's cooperating with was it Anna or whoever's at the helm of our vessel,
Yeah,
to get things right.
nice. All right, sit tight. And Joe, you are up.
Alrighty. So for what I'm doing, the D6 from combat and tactics.
Yep.
I want to argue D6 from privileged, because this is the kind of shit I did all the time on my dad's Skidoo. It's not the same as a Sea-Doo, but
I think there's also like privileged people assume that everyone will just do what they tell you to do.
Also true.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely assuming that, yes, do this life-endangering thing that I'm telling you to do right now.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right.
A stress to add another die, I believe.
Yeah, you can add a D8.
Yeah, and I will definitely add a D8 to that.
And then you can unmark either one of your value or one of your expertise.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep the value for now. How do we feel about me unmarking ecology for this? Does that sound?
Sure, sounds reasonable. Sure, why not?
Toss a D4 into that.
So I'm seeing 2d6, a D4, and a D8.
That's what it's looking like to me too.
All right. So, Joe, do you want to hit roll first?
Absolutely.
And remember, we take the two highest of the non-D4s. So that's a 6 and a 1.
7.
D4
for 11.
11.
So
not good enough.
2 D6s, both of them ones.
Yes, perfect. Perfect. Matthew, you want to hit roll? Damn. Seeing an 8.
What is this? What is this cursed roll?
I don't know why I'm rolling high. And Darren?
2
Uh, 2 D6s. 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 2 D6s.
I vote to have this roll with me page replaced.
Oh, look at you. Look at your D10. 7 and 6 is 13. You squeaked it out.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So we do this in order of whoever rolled lowest goes first. So Matthew, you can narrate this as a fail forward, or we can fail or success with a cost. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I kind of want to hear what other people have to narrate, but I know that's not how it goes. So let's do it this way. When Inga lays down fire on Nobutake, the the harpoon nearly misses him. It causes a small cut, but it doesn't deter him. So what happens is maybe instead he lands like just behind the hydrofoil, still in the game, so to speak, right? And before Joe or Darren are able to put into effect the measures and the moves to like improve our situation, which I presume will happen. Nobutake just fires off a shot at Inga, and she also takes injury.
Okay.
Yeah, and so now she's just like on the deck, on the back deck of the vessel, just nursing a grazed shoulder or something.
Okay, I like it. Armstrong is in the water.
Yeah, in the water. Yeah. Well, I'm sure he has some means to get himself out of that, but
Right.
Yeah.
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 That was awesome. How badly injured is she, would you say? Is she like, is this critical? Is this just serious? Is it an inconvenience?
Inga, I'd say it's a very heavy inconvenience. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's gonna be like instant death here, but definitely you got to get that treated now in terms
Right.
of like blood loss. Yeah.
Right. We need Adam on board. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, that was Matthew. Joe, you rolled next highest. What does this look like?
Yeah, so I'd like to take this as a success with a cost.
Okay.
Do I narrate that or do you?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what happens is the wake idea works. There's a wake generated and it does distract Armstrong, and that's part of why he ends up in the water. But unfortunately, I'm not paying attention to what's going on. So I end up falling out of my boat and onto their boat.
Okay.
Which is great. I'm now on their boat, except all of my medical supplies are on that boat.
Right.
And if we want to really make it crazy, perhaps Armstrong is now on that boat as well. I don't know if that's too much.
Let's think about that.
Yeah.
Let's put a pin in that. Darren, you successfully prevented Webb from getting away. But I'd like to hear more about what that looks like and maybe what else you might have accomplished with your 13.
Things are going okay in the beginning, but then Webb starts getting it in his head that these other parties might be rescuers because he's such a worthwhile human being and rich. So he starts getting pretty lippy with Einar and tries to be top dog and says, "Hey, your leg's injured. You can't keep me here." And starts trying to take the shotgun away from him. And that's where Einar just kind of lays down the law and, injures him in the same leg that he's injured. So essentially like breaks his tibia with the shotgun butt. And that kind of shuts him up, except for, screaming.
Wilhelm scream or actual scream?
I think it would be funny because he kind of attempted like a toxically masculine, like, no, I'm in control.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, if he just completely loses his shit when he's injured, that would be kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's
go ahead.
I'm gonna say, like, it's an important enough character, I think, that it's not a Wilhelm scream. But the director said, now you must do a Wilhelm scream, your version.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe for our final scene, we will have fast forwarded a little bit that you are all able to kind of get back onto the Aegis. I'm picturing that the final confrontation happens on the Aegis. And I really want you all to have the uh, as players cathartic opportunity to take down this evil fossil fuel CEO. So I'm going to say that I feel like Armstrong realizes that the heat is a little too high to try and take out Inga at this point. So he's in the water. He gets together with the Thai mercenaries, and they kind of peel off and go in a different direction. That means that the crew of the other hydrofoil can toss medical supplies over, and Adam's able to treat Inga so she doesn't bleed out. You've got Webb kind of now injured, angry, annoyed, still maybe kind of talking crap to all of you, but you are now kind of reunited with the Aegis. And I'd like to do our break a little bit early. I'm getting notices of things that need doing. So I'm going to go take care of those. So when we get back, maybe we kind of do a scene with all of you talking about what you're going to do with Webb, like how are you going to kind of mete out justice here. So I've got 8 minutes before the top of the hour. So let's reconvene in 10 minutes. So I've for me, that would be 2 minutes past the top of the hour. So I will see you in 10. Sound good? Cool. Thank you, Zoom lady. We are back. I'm trying to figure out what our final contest should be. I'm thinking certainly the way I've written it out in the scenario is only that Webb must be brought to justice. But I mean, we can sit here. It doesn't take 3 contests to just simply execute a man that you've captured. And so I'm wondering if the first contest is you all trying to decide what to do with him. And I've never thought about that before, like how that would work, but we could try that. Another thought is that maybe the Aegis is sort of pulled into a port somewhere and is now being confronted by the public and by the press, or even, if we want to go, if we want to keep with the combat stuff, like Webb's team, something like that. So I'm opening the floor. Does anyone have any ideas for how this kind of might play out?
It sounds like super saucy and intriguing, the whole deciding over like what to do with him, because I know that when we talked in the past sessions, I feel like someone said something like how like torturing him was not necessarily an option, and besides, we confronted him and got information off his cell phone. It's presumed that we can like the challenge is not is not really like making him suffer. The challenge is prying information out of him. On the other hand, yeah, your suggestion that we may be facing more conflict ahead is interesting. Not just because combat is fun, but also, we are exerting extrajudicial justice. If the UN or whichever global neo-colonial authority doesn't like us, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so again, there are three contests. The middle one is where normally the adversary introduces more peril. So I can kind of see like more goons showing up in that moment to try and kind of thwart you. Like if we want to add a little bit of conflict or physical conflict in there.
I want to
Uh,
ask Adam and Darren what they have in, if they have
Yeah,
anything interesting. Yeah, but right before I do, I'll leave with this idea, which is like, what if the multinationals and whatever like managed to like be on the other side of the waters and be all like, now what's this? You're under arrest, all that stuff.
Hmm.
I could see that if you lose the contest. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
there's
Oh,
something there
cool,
for
cool,
sure.
cool, cool. That's definitely interesting. All right. I will mute now because I know I have a lot to say sometimes, but I want to see what Adam and Darren come up with.
Darren, did you want to go first?
Oh no, you can go first.
Okay. So here's the thoughts I have so far. I like the conflict about what do we do with him. I think that's a good idea. I think the middle conflict should definitely be like whatever we're trying to do with him, getting away from people who want to stop us. And then, so I think it's like, decide where we're going, get to where we're going, and then get away from where we're going.
Okay.
Because the final contest should be like, do we get a way to do this again, or do we get captured?
Okay. All right. Ideas are forming. Darren, any suggestions?
So I think that Einar would suggest, we need to embarrass him if we can. And I was thinking either Anna or maybe even Webb himself was recording the confrontation with Einar on the hydrofoil, which didn't end well for him and involved a lot of bluster. Also, like Matthew said, possibly like finding stuff on his cell phone that's super incriminating. And also I think Einar would want to have a logistical plan for if and when the other contingent shows up that wanted Webb. I was thinking maybe we still have some really old armaments from when this was a Soviet vessel. So like some airburst missiles and some 2-inch guns and stuff like that, where we could just fire some warning shots to try to disturb, get them to disengage, etc.
I had another idea. It just sort of is going off of what everybody has been saying so far. What if we blackmail him and say, look, we know you're big and you're rich and everything, but there's bigger, richer people who are also behind this. We need you to incriminate them. If you incriminate them, we'll drop you off at some place where they don't hate you as much as they hate you in Thailand.
Okay. All right. That's really good. All right. So here's what I think we're going to do for the first contest. This is just because I want to see how the system handles this, how well it does. We're going to say, so what we've seen on the screen is that Webb has gotten to speak to each of you individually at some point. Like, this trope, right? You've seen this trope on TV shows and movies where the main adversary is trying to sow dissent among the group. And so he's met with you individually. And so now you're coming together to decide, but he's already sort of created this tension and this distrust between you.
He's got the cuffs. He's got his elbows at the table.
Yes.
And each of us taking our turn in the room while he tries to play us.
Yes, exactly. But now we're seeing the scene that happens after all that. After all of that has happened, what is the kind of fallout from there? So in a sense, you are competing against him. So I'll roll his dice. But what but the outcome of this will sort of determine like who has who sort of not really gets their way, but who makes the most compelling case, I guess, for what to do with him. Does that sound okay? And
Yep.
sorry, go ahead, Darren.
I just said, yep.
Mechanically, the way this first contest works in the final battle is whoever wins gets an advantage die that they can use later. So I think that kind of fits the fiction that we're doing. I'm going to assume we're not activating any complications, so I'm just going to roll straight for Webb. He's got. I've given him 3 dice. His reputation is a D10. He's powerful. He's a D8. And he's arrogant, which is a D6. So let us see. I'm going to take the highest one of that, which is the not great. It's 6 on my D8. So 6 plus 5 is 11. So that's what you are trying to beat for this contest. But I want to see the scene of all of you trying to make a case for how to deal with Webb.
It's a high number, but it's not the worst you've ever rolled for us. So,
oh God, no, I
so
mean,
kudos.
I feel like there was a 15 in there at one point. So 11 is like doable on 2d6, right? And a 2d6 plus a d4 is feasible. So all right, so we'll go in character keeper order. I'm picturing all of you kind of sitting in a lounge in the Aegis, maybe on the bridge of the Aegis, talking about what to do with Webb. Einar, what case do you make to your compatriots here?
So Einar is going to use his like logical linear mind to come up with like a schedule for everything, even like, so like, okay, so right here we get some dirt, we put some dirt off his cell phone on the internet, and then an hour later we released a video of him and me tussling and his scream at the end and the end of his bluster. And before all of that, I need to get on the bridge and start coordinating our defense, because I think at least one of those groups is coming for us.
Okay.
And who knows what Webb is going to send.
All right. Sounds good. So generally speaking, take steps to discredit him in the public eye and embarrass him in the public eye.
Oh, and make the case for like, we just need to get out of this situation, and then maybe we can do more later.
Right, because the greater good, I guess, is preserving the Aegis's reputation and ability to do stuff in the world. Yeah, I like it. All right, thank you. Inga, what case do you make to your compatriots?
To the compatriots or to Webb?
Well, in my imagination, Webb's had conversations with each of you, and now you're coming together on the bridge to like make a plan. Like, okay, we've got him. Now what do we do with him?
All right, I know exactly what I'm going to say, which is that before this happens, Inga does spend her time with Webb, and it's a scene you've seen a million times in prestige drama. The Inga is all like, we should just we should just kill you now. You have nothing to offer us,
right.
All of that stuff. And, Webb tries to turn the tables around on him, on her. And I don't think like Inga has a very simple, absolutist black and white approach to the war against eco like climate criminals, and so it doesn't really work on her. But that does mean that the case that she ends up making to the rest of the gang is just like, Webb is a snake. You can't expect anything from him.
Right.
No information you get from him will be trustworthy. That
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Not even worth spending time thinking about this guy. Let's just get rid of him and move on. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Adam, what is Adam's case here?
So, how I imagine the conversation between Adam and Webb going is that it's a conversation that on the surface seems very polite and very non-connected. It's like they're sitting down at a country club.
Right.
But there's so much boiling beneath the surface. Like, Webb is constantly asking after my family. I'm constantly making references to things that he and my family have done together and hinting that we have proof of it. But definitely Adam comes off like the worst in that conversation for sure. Not by much, but he definitely didn't win on points in that one.
I sense his youth is kind of coming, like he's much younger than Webb, right?
Yes,
So
exactly. Exactly.
All right.
And to my compatriots, I say, so look, there's nowhere on this planet that this man will receive anything like what we would consider justice. There's no court that will put him in an actual prison. Nobody will strip him of his assets. The worst that could happen is that he would get fired, and then he has so many protections in place, he'll still be able to live wealthy. So while it's true we can't necessarily completely trust any information he gives us, if we hold ruining his reputation with the people who can protect him over his head, we can get enough that we can keep going. So
Nice.
if we release a little bit of the blackmail, if we show him some of the blackmail we have, and then we say, we will give you more, we will spread out more, we will make you poison to the people that would protect you, then and he's not going to hesitate to sell some people out. What does he care?
Right.
And then we make, and then we do have to like make a promise that we're going to drop him off somewhere where he won't die immediately.
Right. Because
we do have to keep our end of the bargain, because that's why we're the good guys.
All right. I love it. So Adams maybe feeling a tinge of sympathy because you guys have similar backgrounds.
Yes, exactly.
Just enough, and you sort of have this overconfidence that people like this guy tick. So you feel like we can bargain with them. We can totally make a deal with him.
Yeah.
And get some good information out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. This is great. This is reading like a novel. Okay.
For the record, I agree with your approach, Adam. Out of character, I agree with your approach.
Thank you. Out of character, I really like your approach, frankly.
That's so great. All right. So dice pooling time. Why don't we go in reverse character keeper order? So Joe, you would go first.
All right. So.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to call this. Actually, you know what? According to the Aegon rules, I think you guys get to choose what domain you're going to use. Just remind myself. Clash. Yes, each hero player may choose the domain they roll for the clash. So, Adam, Joe, what are you rolling?
All right, so this is definitely going to be my politics and communication.
Yep.
Privileged for sure.
Yep.
I want to make an argument for medical. As a medical person, I have a desire to preserve life.
I'm good.
I will take a stress to add another dice. And can that be a D8?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And I would like to click off one of my my checks in caregiving if I could.
Oh yeah, nice.
And
So
I think
that
gives
adds
me
a
a D4.
D4. So I'm
D4.
counting 2d6, 2d8, and D4.
And that is looking good for me.
All right. Matthew, what is Inga doing here?
All right. So, well, mechanically, I'm going to pull on politics and then communication. This is definitely a flex on trying to persuade the other people into her view. Gonna invoke a role name. Role name, the role die, name die, and then I'll count this as justice. So that's another 1d4. And I would like to say I'm going to use leadership as well, because this is definitely one of those situations where Inga is actually trying to take, the word isn't command, but definitely trying to take a sort of like point on the situation.
You can only use one value or expertise. You can only have one D4 to your roll.
Let's do leadership. It's so rarely invoked, so let's do that instead. So that is a 2d6 and a 1d4. Huh.
I mean, you can
And
spend a stress to add your combat and tactics, or you can
Sure.
make a case for trying to add your engineer die.
I'll make this the case for the combat and tactics, higher stress. The idea I think is that we like the way Inga positions it is that it's just tactically more feasible to get rid of the of Webb now than carry him with us. It's like it's just get it move on, get it over with, all that stuff. So
I got 2d6, a d8, and a d4. Does that sound right to you?
2d8, a d6, and a d4.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right.
And Darren, what does Einar's dice pool look like?
Okay, so I'm thinking in addition to the roll die, maybe his background die of Whaler would apply because he kind of knows how shitty people operate. And let's see here. So that's 2d6 and then d10 for logic. And then maybe I'll spend a stress for combat to bring in combat and tactics.
All right, you're holding on to d4s.
I don't really see how like diversity or computers would help.
That's fair. Yeah.
Let's see. So that was d6, d6, d6. Okay. Yep. So 3d6 and 1d10.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and roll those?
Oh, good God. Okay.
So I'm seeing that's a 9, right?
Yep.
All right, Matthew, you want to hit roll? Ooh. Another 9.
This is a 4 and a 3 and a 9. Is it a 9?
It is another 9.
Okay.
All right, Joe, bring us home.
Wish me luck.
Luck.
Oh, there you go. Wow, you killed it. I'm seeing 14.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish ill on anyone, but I was kind of low key hoping we all failed, and then that would be really interesting.
Yeah. So what does Webb want us to do? Because apparently that's what it is.
I mean, I feel like, it would have been interesting, but I sense what would have happened is what we would have narrated is he got under all your skin, right?
Exactly.
So
That's
you
what I was
couldn't
thinking.
agree on approach. And so that would be kind of a different set of contests.
Yeah,
So
because
Joe, you get a D10 that you can spend because you won this contest on the next. I'm gonna, just in the interest of time, say we don't necessarily need to narrate the outcome of this contest if you all are okay with that. But let's assume that that Adam is able to convince the others that bargaining a bit is the way to go here. So the next contests, the next contest is called, oh man, I always forget. I should just keep this book open. The next contest is called Threat. And recall there's two things that are happening here. One, the adversary is introducing some perils, and you can choose to defend against those perils. That's the word defend. Or you can choose to seize the opportunity. And I think in this case, it means get some leverage in your negotiations with Webb. So either you're defending against perils or you are seizing the opportunity, and in that case, getting leverage on your negotiations with Webb. The perils, I think, are you are now no longer in international waters. And so you are now being, no, I take that back. You're still in international waters, but maybe Webb has Webb has contacted his security team. And so now you are being pursued by, say, a helicopter and a couple of speedboats are coming after you. Does that sound okay? All right, so you're going to each make a choice. Are you going to defend against the security team, or are you going to seize the opportunity, or it's really seize control of the battle by finding some leverage? I'll just go down character keeper. Darren, what do you think Einar is doing?
I think he is still trying to coordinate with people who maybe don't know this old technology that's on the ship to provide a defense plan. And keep an eye out with radar and stuff for the I don't know if the other team has arrived yet. Gosh, where were they from? They were trying to get Webb.
Yeah, we abandoned the Thailand.
Oh, okay.
This is like Webb's private personal security team are now basically coming to rescue him. So
okay, sorry. Okay, so yeah, just trying to get people like out on the deck with guns and try and use some of the old weapon systems on the ship to protect us. And I think the kid gloves are off. He's probably not going to go for non-lethal at this point. So
all right, so Einar is doing defend then. Matthew, what is Inga doing? Defend or seize?
I think, well, yes, seize control of the situation.
She's going to seize. What is she doing to try and get some leverage?
I guess oldest trick in the book I can think of is just like threatening to dunk Webb out, even though we've already agreed not to do it.
I want to reframe that a little bit, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I know.
Because like this is not really a confrontation with Webb per se.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So maybe it is like looking through medical records to find a physical weakness, or looking through his phone to find some kind of weakness so you can threaten him. Maybe he's got a family he actually cares about. with his tiny, tiny little oil pumping heart, or yeah, I don't know, like that kind of thing. Does that make sense? Does that sound all right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, but I think if it helps speed along like the strategy that we all agreed to, then definitely like we're trying to get Webb to we have convinced we're trying to get Webb to rat out the bigger fish,
Okay.
so to speak, and along that line, he's controlled the situation by looking through his records and seeing that he has a favorite daughter, or whatever, and like you know you're never going to see her again if you don't help us call off these mofos.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if Inga could even make arrangements to have the daughter brought to the ship. Not to hurt her, obviously, but maybe because she is actually kind of a climate activist as well. I don't know. I feel like that's a whole nother, that's like season 2. All right. Either way, you are seizing the opportunity. Adam, are you defending or seizing?
I'm going to defend. It.
All right.
I we can see obviously that I'm conflicted about this choice, but in the end, it's like no, I've got to defend my friends.
All right. So we'll do the defend first. And I'm going to roll for his security team. 2d8. I'm going to assume no complications here. All right, so I rolled a 4 and a 5. So the 5 plus 5 is the defend difficulty is 10. So Darren and Joe, you got to put together dice pools to beat a 10. Do you want to do the walkthrough, or do you have a handle on it and just want to give me a thumbs up when you're ready?
I think I've got it.
All right.
I definitely want to walk through it really quickly.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm doing to defend is I am putting together med kits, and I'm making sure everybody that's medical personnel that I have access to knows how to use them. I make sure anybody who is not medical personnel has like at least some basic idea of what to do.
Love it.
So tossing in medical, tossing in science and technology. Does ecology usually mean sciences?
Yeah, but I think of that as like environmental sciences.
Yeah, so it doesn't really work in this case.
No.
And spend a stress to put in politics and communication, because this is definitely about getting as much information across in as little time as possible.
Great.
So 2d8s, a d10.
Oh, and are you going to use your d10 that you?
Or not? Sorry, 2d8s and a d6. Actually, I am going to go ahead and use that d10.
All right.
Yeah.
So got a d10, d6, and 2d8. Darren, if you are ready, you can hit roll.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a D10 and 2 D6s. Or actually, I can't afford the second D6. All right, so I have a D6 and a D10.
Yikes. I mean, if you want, we can spend a bond.
Oh, okay.
We haven't been doing that, but
Can I spend a bond with one of our guest stars?
sure.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. Oh, the other logistics person who was here last time.
Magnus.
Yep. Okay. That sounds good. So 2d6 and a d10. Oh, nice. I got a 13.
Oh, nice. All right. And Joe, you want to roll?
Alrighty. Got a five.
Lovely.
5.
So Joe, oh my gosh, I have not been handing out glory. It's a good thing this is a one shot. Joe, you go first. Just narrate kind of what didn't go quite right here for you.
I really over prepared. Like I really over prepared and over drilled everybody, and so when shit actually hit the fan, a lot of people were like sort of following the drills, but not really thinking about what was going on around them. So it ended up being a lot more chaos than it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the security team caught up to you all at least a little bit and caused some damage. So maybe a few of the red shirts are now like actually injured here. But everybody's kind of there's as you say over prepared. So there's a bit of chaos. People are not really focused on triage and getting everyone kind of where they should be. So
Right.
So you've got a couple of red shirts down. Darren, you rolled really well, 13. How did this go well for Einar?
I think despite some complications, he was able to fend off the rescue team. Like I imagine him having an extremely old terminal on the bridge to run like the old Soviet tech, and he's there and he's like trying to fire the 2-inch guns, which are inaccurate to begin with, and the goons managed to like attack with some RPGs and like maybe destroy one of the helicopters and do some personnel damage, etc. But in the end, he kind of zeroes in the guns and gets like the fire team on the deck out of kind of the rattled state they were in when the RPGs started flying, and they just destroy them in fairly short order.
Nice. Yeah, so the others kind of peel off, and the security team is no longer a threat to you, but you are dealing with some pretty serious casualties. Meanwhile, the camera now turns to Inga. I'm going to roll for Inga's seize action. This, I believe, is against Jeff Webb himself. I'm going to say D10, a D8 for resourceful, and a D6 for arrogant.
Here we go. Can we just cut the arrogant out now? No. Joking.
Not the hardest roll I've done. So you have to seize against 12.
All right. I just want to ask, how much does a bond get you again?
It gives you someone else's roll die.
All right. I want to invoke Anna's roll die and say that she is working with me to.
That's a good idea. Yep.
Yeah, to rifle through everything and help me put, do the social network engineering to, put us in contact with his daughter. And yeah, so right now I've got 2d6 and a 1d4. And so if I add Anna's die, what die do she have? English is good.
She'll add a d6 to you.
All right. So 3d6 plus 1d4. And I think as a matter of like scrounging up and getting things into position, I will invoke a survival die. Does that make sense?
Well, no, you've already spent however you got the d4 in there.
I think no, that's there. That's there
Yeah.
then.
So
all right.
You've got wait, hang on. You've got operative, which is a d6. I think you're using engineer, right? So that's a D8.
All right.
And then you're, I think technically this is like a support and logistics, which
Yeah.
would be a D6. But do you have a stress to spend? Or are you out?
No, I'm not. If I spend stress, I'm gonna hit 5.
Yeah, you kind of want to, I think we should save that for the last roll.
Yeah.
So I've got 2D6 and a D8, and then you're spending another one, so you're having a D4.
Hmm.
And then you're spending the bond, so that's now a third D6, right?
Yeah.
So I'm counting 3D6, a D8, and a D4.
Yippos, that's what I got.
All right,
All right.
roll it up.
I hate this page already.
And
Ah,
brutal. How did
brutal
this go?
indeed.
How'd this go sideways for you?
Well, honestly, where my imagination goes is that there's more oil than blood in that heart.
Yes. You could not find anything that you could use as leverage against it.
Mhm.
So all you have is your sort of pre-existing knowledge of, what makes a criminal hardened CEO of a fossil fuel company.
Honest-
operate.
Honestly, I just want to say we find information, but it just doesn't work. Like he
Yeah.
does not give a shit.
Right. Like you're like, oh gosh, there are emails with his daughter. Oh, wait a minute. He's kind of mean to her. Like it's
Mhm.
like everything you turn up like seems promising, and then it's clear this
And
is not gonna work. Yeah.
and the camera like whip pans right while we're like going through the files, right, and then we turn around, you know and he's still got the cuffs, right, and
Yep.
he's just like laughing at us thinking, you're
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
You're adorable, thinking you can find any kind
Yes.
of leverage on me.
Right. Yes. I run a fossil fuel company in the middle of a climate crisis. There's nothing you can say or do. All right. So we are now in the final, what they call the finale, because Matthew did not roll high enough there. I get to choose what kind of domain this is, but I kind of want to. I want some help sort of setting up the scene. Is this a private negotiation that you all are engaging in? Do you come into port and try and make this a very public negotiation? I'm just trying to think like what is the scene here?
I think at this point, my argument would definitely be we have to now we have to basically own up to everything and go public.
Okay.
And I think we could even say like, look, we tried to get some kind of leverage on this guy to get him to talk about his crimes, but we couldn't. Everything we found up on him just made him a worse human being.
Right. Okay.
Just basically go to the public opinion.
Right. So you're sort of, I mean, I can imagine like maybe you're dumping whatever information you found out about him. And it's not that shocking, but because everyone knew that this was happening, but just the idea like now it's out in the public and proved. The scene that I have in my head is you've pulled into port, you're standing there, it's sort of like a press conference is happening, and there's plenty of like news vans and cameras, but maybe it's in a European city. And so it's sort of like you've come across the Atlantic by now, and you're doing this sort of very public thing. That's what I had in my head. Joe, is that along the lines of what you were thinking too?
Absolutely, yeah. We
Okay.
try and land somewhere where there's at least enough political power that we're not going to get jumped by corporate goons as soon as we get off the ship.
Okay, yeah. So maybe it's not European, maybe it's African, where like they are quite happy to try a northern hemisphere oil magnate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How do we feel about saying that it's Egypt, that I'm literally coming home?
That is a white preppy guy. I that works for me. Yeah, I feel like there's like a lot of power there, and also that I can sort of imagine them taking a leadership role in
Yeah.
in a post crash world. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Matthew and Joe, you okay with
Yeah.
being at, Cairo? I guess it's
Yes, I love globe trotting. Always like, yeah, I like that stuff.
all right. All right, so I'm gonna roll now for our final contest. And basically you're trying to make Webb look bad, right? I mean, you're just trying to humiliate him. Well, I guess Adam, Adam's plan was the winner here. So this was more of a negotiation. So how does that work in the scene that we've described? Is the idea that you'll put in a good word? Like what is the negotiation here look like? Joe, did you have something in mind there?
I think basically how I see this is like Webb has called our bluff,
Okay,
said you don't have enough to get, and so we're basically having to follow through with our part of the bargain, which is okay, well, you haven't dealt with us, so we're going to drop you off for a tribunal.
got it. And so what this role is how well have you kind of picked the location to drop him off? How well has he set himself up to avoid being caught? Oh yeah, I like this. Okay.
I like this.
So I've given you a fighting chance. I rolled a 5 plus 5 is 10 for your final for your finale. So let's just quickly describe what each of us is doing here as part of this scene. Joe, do you want to go first?
Yes, I am on our funky satellite communications, and I am contacting everybody that I know from my old life.
Right.
Basically saying, look, this guy is going under. If you want to prevent him from spilling your secrets to the government, maybe you need to bend his arm now.
Nice. That's great. Very cool. And Matthew, what are you doing here? I would imagine Inga doesn't really want to be too much in the public eye since she's wanted by the government.
Yeah. I think
Though she may feel safe in Egypt.
that is true. That is true. I think I'm trying to come up with something that isn't exactly what Adam is doing. Also, just like, well, I guess serving as like personal security. I'm not sure. I'm drawing a blank here.
Okay. I wonder if is she the spokesperson? Like, is she, now that you've landed, is she sort of making the case to the authorities in Egypt to arrest Webb?
I don't think that's going to work because they're probably going to want to arrest her too. You know what I mean? It'll be like it's really tempting. It's really tempting to go on, you know, as to play faced for this group, but I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Could she have like a fake identity she uses for this kind of thing? Like
I think
kind of
the
like
problem-
what's that?
Sorry, no, keep going, keep going.
Oh, just you know, like she's wearing a mask and stuff, and she has like an alias that's known, not known and tied to her, but you know.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I think so. I think that could work. Something that allows her to operate in around Africa and the Middle East, probably. Yeah.
I mean, maybe is she the one who's dumping all the information up onto the internet and contacting the authorities electronically rather than like in public.
Yeah, I'd rather go with that. I just feel like the idea of concealing the identity just seems counter to how Inga would behave.
Right.
I don't think she cares or bothers, and maybe she should be wiser about that, but she doesn't. So helping to upload the information and make sure it's distributed to all the proper darknet channels.
Yes, perfect. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And Darren, you're up. What is Einar's role in all of this?
I think he feels like he needs to take Webb down a peg again, to kind of prep for what other people want to do. So he goes in and talks to him. Webb mouths off to him a lot, and he just gets up and walks out. And he comes back with a box and a bucket of chum, and he dumps chum all over him and says, and he points to a map of the coastline. There's a lot of sharks here,
Nice.
here. Then he opens the box, and Webb is wearing like an air cast, like Einar is, and he pulls out a matching air cast, and it's like, I think these match. If you want to put this on your other leg, you'd look really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So just threatening, one last ditch effort to threaten this dude. All right. So why don't you put together your dice pools, and we will see how we do. Clearly he is shaken because I only rolled a 10. So let me know when you're ready, or if you want to walk through on this is your last roll of the game, by the way. So go all in on a D4 and spend your last stress on this.
Mhm.
Can I walk Can I walk through that with you, Dan, just to make sure I got
Please
it right?
go for it. Yep.
Okay. So a D6 for privileged.
Yes.
I want to throw in a D6 for medical because I think some of the people I'm talking to are medical contacts.
That's fine. Oh, and I was meant to announce the domain, and I feel like we've got to call this politics and communication.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So a D8 for politics and communication.
Yep.
I have spent my justice value to toss in a D4.
Okay.
I've taken a stress to add. I think it's going to have to be support and logistics. It's not my highest, but it makes much more sense than.
I'm okay if you want to throw in a D8. We're at the bitter end here. So.
Fair enough. We'll toss in the D8.
Yeah. So I'm counting 2D8, 2D6, and a D4.
I think that's what I got. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Did you ever use? You did use your bonus.
I did use the 10. Yeah.
Cool. Hold on that. Matthew, you got a pool for Inga?
Yep. I got a 2d6, 2d8, and plus 1d4. We're burning everything, which means
We are all in.
using a value die for the 1d4 that I'm allowed to stack on, and a stress die to invoke combat and tactics on top of the politics and communication roll that I'm making.
Perfect.
And the customary name and epithet die.
Love it. And Darren, you good?
Yeah, I just want to make sure though, like I'm using my roll die, my background die, I'm using politics, of course, and then I took a stress to throw in logistics and support, and I used my value of diversity.
Okay, great. All right. Darren, why don't you roll first? Wow. You squeaked it out.
Just made it nice.
All right. Well, we know this is not going to go the way Chamber went. That was rough. Matthew, you want to hit roll? you rolling real dice?
Yes, I am.
Like that'll help.
There's a 6 and a 5, and a 6 and a 4 for the D8s, and a 1 for the D4.
Well, I'm hearing
How's
two
that?
sixes. I'm hearing 2 6s and a 1 on the D4. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's 13. That's nice.
Oh, okay, so that did help.
You did great.
These
Yeah.
are my lucky ones.
Yeah. I'm gonna need you to send those to America so I can check them.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll
Amounts.
FedEx them. We do have Western Union, so
Joe, you're up.
All right, let's see how this goes.
Oh my gosh. Beauty.
Nice.
So I'm creating my own flavor of the system because I'm annoyed with how quirky the system is. So I'm creating kind of a vignette based system. And I feel like this situation needs to have a little bit more fanfare when everybody beats the difficulty level. I think something cool and interesting should happen. But we are successful, which means that the Egyptian authorities take Webb into custody to subject him to justice. You have publicized all of his wrongdoings on the internet. When he's taken into custody, he is covered in shark bait.
oh
And
my
I
god.
feel like Inga, maybe you not only dumped everything, but also we had Adam contacting every news organization he knew. So we have Webb coming off of your ship covered in shark bait, which I feel like accomplishes the humiliation aspect as well as the discredited aspect, as well as you are now being thrown in jail aspect. Let's take a moment to kind of hear how each of you sort of relish this moment. Darren, I'll start with you and we'll go down the character keeper. Where's Einar's head at when all of this goes down?
I think he's just, there's maybe a scene where he's like watching things with binoculars, and he looks nervous, and so the Egyptian authorities start approaching Webb for the handoff, and he throws a fit essentially, and goes into another spiel about how he's above the law,
Right.
and then slips on some of the chum that is dripped off of him, and he insisted on this being filmed, of course. So he gets to see him essentially just fall on his ass and scream again before it's all over.
Right. You see the Egyptian authorities like, just come on, get up. Yeah, I love it. Matthew, where's Inga at with all this?
Well, everything that Darren described is so abjectly humiliating. I'm not sure what else I can come up with for that. So, yeah.
Did you get any responses when you posted all this stuff to the internet? Did any of it, anything interesting come out of the woodwork? Like maybe to think a little bit differently. If we were continuing the play, did any of that trigger some new hook for the Aegis team?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it awakens a sort of like a special team, sort of like a legal, sort of like the Innocence Project version of eco terrorism, wherein they are the ones who like identify and collect all the information and will definitely make a case to put Webb to be held accountable for their crimes.
Nice.
Yeah. Like a legal supergroup.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, can I throw one thing on top of that?
Yeah.
I could also see maybe like bootleg Aegis shirts circulating around Africa after this. And it's really good PR for us because it's all like, it's not corporate, it's like individual like artists and stuff.
Yeah. I love that. That's so great. And Joe, tell us where Adam is with all this.
So Adam's complication is that he is famous. So I think some of this bleeds over onto him. And so he has to spend some time like laying low, because otherwise people are like literally trying to find the Aegis to get an interview with him. But I think one of the things that happens while he's laying low is that he's going through old communication, and he's gotten messages from some of the people that he contacted to take care of Webb, and like some people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, you know what, we couldn't publicly back you, but we believe in what you're doing.
Oh, interesting.
And so it's kind of gets a bit of hope, like maybe not everybody's so bad.
And maybe the Aegis's operating account suddenly has a little bit more cash.
Yeah, I think perhaps, yes.
Yeah, this sort of helps put them on the map. Friends, that was awesome. I got such a big smile on my face because I just loved every second of that.
Are we doing epilogue scenes, or
I was just gonna say, should we hear what happens to these characters? Let's go backwards now. Joe, what's Adam's epilogue?
So I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on that is montage. I don't want to get into too much of it because I do kind of like the idea of leaving it most of it blank. But one of the things we see is Adam walking into the Thatcher compound, which at this point is much more of a like semi-militarized compound than it is a mansion.
Right.
Is at this point. But he walks in like he owns the place.
Well, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think they've written him out of the will at this point.
Right.
But he walks right up to, and he's got over his shoulder the grappling hook. And the grappling hook it's symbolic because the Thatcher money like originally was made from piracy. Nobody talks about that. But that's why the grappling hook is a sign of their family. And he walks into the office, and this is done to like montage music. He walks into the office and he takes the grappling hook off his shoulder and he just dumps it on his father's desk. And he turns around and walks out.
Oh, love it. Matthew?
Yeah, so here's what happens. With all the information that's out there from regarding Webb, Inca, the data arrives, like we see it do the whole like really cheesy 2003, like, you know, the internet was just discovered, so filmmakers have started visualizing internet as data that goes through the pipes, like in the 2003 films, the phone booth, and 2003's The Recruit, both starring Colin Farrell for some reason. So they go spinning, right? And they lead up straight up to a computer. And behind the computer is, I believe its name is Thomas, who helped create some surveillance computers for the military in this canon.
Yes.
From our other game. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what he does is he extracts a sort of like a knock list, a master list of other business types and, you know, and power brokers who are conspiring to suck the world dry for capitalism's sake, right? And he looks over his shoulder and gives like, you know, a secure drive or whatever to a courier who bikes out. And the package arrives through this special super group of like lawyers, and they're interrogating another like eco criminal, and they're like, you know, and these are the people who are working to you know, arrest more criminals. And over there in the dark corner is Inga saying, you know, and they basically say like, you know, if you don't cooperate with us, there's someone over there who's like way less friendly.
Nice. Awesome. Darren, bring us home. What happens to Einar?
So I'm thinking maybe like the scene starts with a bunch of really rank and file members of the crew some of the more like saltier guys who probably really look up to Einar. And they're talking about how well everything went in the end. And they're like sitting around and eating. Maybe they have some shawarma they picked up while we were in the, the in the Mediterranean. And after about a minute, Einar shows up. He kind of walked, like they're around a fire they put in a barrel on the deck. And Einar kind of walks out of the shadows and he's like, no, carry on. And you hear him ripping something while they continue to talk. And then the camera shoots to the fire barrel and some chunks of a book are being tossed in it. And the final thing that lands is the cover of his Whaler's Handbook. And he kind of dusts his hands off and walks away.
Yeah.
Nice.
End of season 1. Beauty.
Mm.
All right, friends, that was great. This was our last Paragon game. I hope you all had as much fun as I did running all these games. I would love to do some stars and wishes, if that is all right with you. And if you have any feedback on Rising Tide, I'd love to hear what your thoughts on that are as I make some tweaks to the rules. So let's go back again. So maybe Darren, you want to go first on stars and wishes?
Oh, sure. Stars. I really think you're onto something with adding some upbeats when the players succeed. Because, there's definitely a lot of chances to fail in this system. So if there's just that sort of everyone succeeds thing, I think giving the players some extra candy is a great idea. And maybe even applying things like that to other parts of the game. What else? Stars. I really like I think I'm using my gauntlet lingo correctly, the fiction that we created in this game. I feel like, once again, I'll say you wrote a really solid universe for this to be in.
Thanks.
Wishes, and I don't want to sound sappy, but I hope I get to play with all of you again. That was really fun. And I'm definitely becoming a Dan Brown fanboy, but what do you do?
That's so nice, Darren.
Also, I do want more pics of baked goods on your Instagram.
All right.
That hollow, it looks so good. I almost ate my phone.
Yes, I bake challah bread almost every Friday for my family, and so those have ended up on Instagram next to my pictures of my cat and pictures of board games. It's basically a Instagram feed just for Darren, apparently.
It does hit on food, cats, and games. So yeah, totally.
It's a winning Dadstagram formula.
It's just we're just covering the same cloth there, and that's fantastic. I'm glad you liked the game. I really had a lot of fun with this group as well. I just feel like I'm always laughing with you all, and that's why I come, right? So Matthew, Darren, did you have anything else you want?
No, I don't want to be like last time where it really got out in the weeds.
I don't remember that, so it was not traumatic for me. But was there a particular weed that you would like to highlight?
Not really. Yeah. No, I think I've covered the bases.
Very cool. Mr. Matthew, what do you got?
Yeah. I think you already know that I always have a blast playing with you guys. Especially like all the opportunities I've got to play under you, Dan. I want to say also, I'm happy to have spent all this time with Darren for so many sessions. You know what I mean? I thought he brought a lot to the game as well. Let's see. Speaking for feedback of the system, I don't think we necessarily failed a lot of roles, at least me, so much as you were just those dice were like popping for you, Dan.
They really were.
They
Yeah.
were- so
I
it's not.
never roll when I'm like that when I'm a player. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that the difficulty curve that we've experienced recently is not representative of like a statistical average.
Right.
Yeah. That being said, I think the one tweak I'm thinking might be looked at is maybe a way of either increasing the ability to mine for the D4 bonuses,
Mm.
but also keeping it in check, because I do like the idea of, like, when I look at it, when I see like, oh, you can get a D4 either from an expertise or from a value. Like, I love that idea wherein, you're guaranteed, there are so many situations where you can guarantee a D4, but you can't like abuse them to just like stack together. That core idea is good. I'm just trying to figure out what is the mechanic you could have that allows you to sort of like have a little bit more wiggle room to invoke additional D4s, not either within that framework or through the addition of other like mechanics.
Yeah.
Again, it's also a question of like how much cognitive load do you want? Like, I mean, D&D is so famous for the whole like, there are different types of bonuses and only one bonus none of them can repeat, which is like such an overload. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's a perfect description for the system, cognitive load, because
yeah.
like on the one hand, it's very simple. Like you're just building this dice pool. And on the other hand, you're like, you have to mark this to get a die, but unmark this to get a die. It's like, why? It feels like it's trying to speak 3 different languages at the same
Mm,
time. So
mm-mm.
I agree. It's like, it's a lot to keep track of.
I can't calculate the odds, which is the part that drives me crazy with all the different die types and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things I actually really don't like is the GM having to roll for difficulty, because that feels completely arbitrary. And it's like you roll a die and then you add 5. It's like, why
Yep.
didn't I just pick a number to start with? So I found that really annoying, because sometimes you want to amp it up and sometimes you want to tone it down, or sometimes you just don't really care. Like, I just felt like rolling was just added a lot of unnecessary stress to it. Anyway.
When I begged for mercy during my home campaign of Aegon, which we had like just a shit show of bad rolls, I was like, can you just maybe take the average of your dice and add 5 to the, just throw us a bone.
Yeah, I mean, they could also lower the strife level, so add 4 or add 3 if instead of add 5. But
yep,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I also feel like the rules are not very clear on advantage dice. So it sort of says if the character has some kind of fictional advantage, they should add a D8 or a D10 to their pool. But it feels so arbitrary. It's like, I don't know how to adjudicate that at all, but that would certainly change the odds a lot. So,
I don't want to let my section of my time here like run on for too long, but I can tell you now, right? Like, I am very willing to play test this system further, and at the same time also like I feel like there's just so many ways to go about like how to, the word isn't solve the problem, but definitely to explore like those like kinds of like mechanical ideas to streamline it, or to create a more secure or maintainable balance between like all the things. Like, I love like Darren's suggestion of halving it, and while I think it's a cool suggestion and like I would duly deploy it, who knows if it's like the right one also, right? Like, but again, that's what playtesting is for, I think.
yeah, I like
So,
I like the idea of being able to add more D4s or earn your D4s back, because you really need them in order to really succeed. Like, there's just almost no way to guarantee a success without that little boost. It'd be cool to find a way to earn them back. So
I'll end in this with regards to the mechanical talk, which is Darren said that what he couldn't do was like figure out the odds or figure out the chances, right? And that's totally an optimal, or rather that's a usually a very prudent way to approach die rolls and whatever. And for me, like I knew there was no chance in hell that I would be able to like look at the dice and look at the difficulty and figure out what the optimal situation. So I just ended up blowing trying to blow
Right.
as many dice as I could. And then I figured if I run out of resources or if I like, make a mistake, danger will happen. It'll be fun anyway. It's not like,
Right.
I don't feel possessive. I don't feel, as a player, I'm not usually very possessive about my characters.
Right.
It's like go out in a blaze of glory. So
Yeah, I mean, I think of this as basically the results are the PBTA equivalent is when you roll less than a difficulty, it's a 7 to 9, and when you roll greater than the difficulty, it's a 10 plus. There isn't really a 6 minus equivalent here.
But yeah, and so stars, mechanical conversation, and wishes. I just, I do wish we could play more, but at the same time, it's probably right that we take a break, and yeah.
I really enjoy this, and I mean, as I've told you guys, this has been my white whale game. So the fact that I've got something that actually works and we can play and is fun, I will probably run this again later this year, just because
Nice.
I really like it.
Nice. And in the words of Columbo, one more thing: consider this as a Charlie's Angels game.
Fascinating.
Nice.
I do
I
not.
I saw the mediocre movie. I was like, hey.
I do not know the canon well enough to design a game around that. That is compelling. I guess I will have to do some research. Joe, let us come to you and your stars and wishes.
Thank you. So first off, I want to star everybody for really leaning into the mechanics and the fiction. More than Chamber, I think they're really welded well in this game, because you have a world that is falling apart, and you have a mechanics that are like, okay, we've got all of these resources, and at the beginning it looks like a lot, but by the time you get to that final conflict, it's like, oh, I'm really, really short, and I really have to choose where I use what.
Right.
So I really like that. Stars to everybody for finding the hope and humor in that.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite things about systems like this, where it's like, yes, things are dark and grim, but where can we find the bright light?
Right.
And I think that in a lot of ways, that can be much more powerful than just a straight up power fantasy.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Wishes / feedback on the system. I do, like other people have said, I like having values and expertise. There is a high cognitive load. I don't immediately have any ideas of how to take that down. But you're right. It is a fair amount. Wishes I would like, sort of tied to the idea of getting your D4s back, and related to some other games that I've been playing recently. An opportunity to like form or regain bonds in a mechanical way, as an aid to role playing. So like, I'm sitting down with this other character, we're sharing whatever, we're talking about stuff that gives some kind of bond back or boost back or whatever.
In Aegon proper, so you all were sort of playing a mission.
Mhm.
We are at the end of that mission. If we were to keep going, there would be kind of a downtime phase.
Yeah.
And during that downtime phase, you get all your stress back, you get all your bonds back, you get like all of that stuff, which just resets essentially.
Nice.
So if you do end up playing an Aegon game and you play multiple islands, there's like the voyage between islands, and that's where you narrate kind of sitting down and rekindling your bonds. So
it's the regaining and stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or feedback?
Nothing at the moment. Thank you very much for running this. It's been great.
Thank you all. Again, I had a great time, and I look forward to playing with you all again. I would like to post this recording. Is that okay with everybody? So my mom could take a look. All right.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Did you have any stars or wishes?
Oh, that's nice of you to ask. I'm tired, so I forgot. Stars to everybody. No, you're good. You're good. Stars to everybody for again leaning in, embracing this setting, and being really thoughtful about the system. I just appreciated it is very fiddly, and I really like Matthew how you put it. It's very high cognitive load, but you stuck with it. Like if I were a player, I'd be like, I don't know, it's a couple d6. What's the big deal? So I appreciate everyone sticking with it and giving some thoughtful feedback. I really like the story that we put together. It was complicated. It was interesting. It wasn't just a lot of fighting like when we were playing giant robots. And so, like, I love stuff like that. I'm really happy that the system can support that kind of storytelling. I really appreciated doing some experiments with, well, maybe this contest is you all just trying to figure out what you want to do next. I thought that was cool. And it worked out really nicely and worked. The die roll influenced the fiction really well. I've got
Yeah.
little tweaks I want to make to the game. So my wish is only that we get to play again later in the year after I've kind of refined the game a bit. So that was that. Thanks for asking. Darren.
I forgot one thing. I'm sorry.
No,
I wish I really hope you're on Star Trek 2D20 again.
oh, interesting. Matthew, we had a lot of fun in that game.
Yes, we did.
That was really good.
Just any RPG that you and I play together, just find a jar where I can pour junk culture directly into it. And I'm like, I'm there.
Like, guys, I can't run this game anymore. I got to watch the chat for cultural references from Matthew. I could run it. I love Star Trek. I love playing that because it is such a genre with such strong tropes. I love anything having to do with the main deflector dish. Like I would like anytime you say that, I'll be like, yeah, that sounds like a success.
I'm there for any hand wave that involves the phrase attempting to compensate.
So, all right, Darren, you've planted an idea. I'm in a quarterly starting in July, and I feel like I need to take a break from running games. So I'll do it, but it'll be like maybe winter this year.
Okay.
I did enjoy that. I do enjoy that Star Trek game. The system is dumb. The system is just dumb. But I think we decided that the system worked for what it needed to do for Star Trek, like it would be hard to do a PBTA for Star Trek because what you're really
Don't challenge me.
I mean, do it, man. But what what works about it is like you're not really telling a Star Trek story. You're telling a story about a TV show about Star Trek, right? So it's sort of like you're running it in that, like you're producing a TV show, and that's what makes it interesting and compelling. So, all right, I should go to bed. Hey, friends, thanks much, and I will talk to you all later. See you on the Slack. Bye, guys.
Thank you.